All right, guys. Fulu coming to you with another commentary. Um, so I was thinking about something, and unfortunately, I think this part of man, because of the climate we're living in, is now becoming so suppressed and maybe almost becoming non-existent because of the climate we're living in right now. And it's in a man's innate nature to want to be married, to want to have someone. But when you have choices like the ones I'm about to show you, you and this goes not only for just Muslims, but this goes for non-Muslims as well. You know, contrary to belief, I don't have any animosity towards non-Muslims. I just have animosity towards people who perpetuate ignorance, who may be Muslim as well sometimes. And I am willing to even check those people. As a matter of fact, a lot of Muslim women dislike me because I check what goes on in their communities, especially with their, overt racism and stuff like that they exhibit on Clubhouse a lot of the time. But anyhow, let's go into something that goes into like why, why the Muslim or even non-Muslim, that is kind of like a natural thing to want to have someone. But let's get into it. So, this Imam, may Allah preserve him, goes into some things that, you would think should be exhibited, but they're not exhibited. But let's go into it.
This is the origin of all love stories. And I don't care, there's no movie that can touch the story of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, of course, they were enjoying Jannah, the gardens of Jannah together, starting off such a beautiful union between husband and wife. Then, of course, every story has this life-shaking test. Every relationship usually has this life-shaking test that puts the future in. And they definitely received the life-shaking test, which resulted in them being banished from Jannah, right? And they were banished to two different locations on earth. And some of the narrations say that it took years for them to become acquainted with one another. So the love story with the couple being apart, and then towards the end of the movie, they come back together. And alhamdulillah, it's such a beautiful ending. This is the origin of all.
Okay, so
there are three things from the
here's the
fiqh to
thing
show
about
that
this.
marriage is.
When you think about it, right? When you think about the fact that they had their tests, right? The modern woman, and also, unfortunately, the modern Muslim woman who is in the West, I'm just naming the Western one, are not really willing to go through it with their husband or go through it with their boyfriend. I'm not advocating boyfriend, girlfriend, who is building himself up, who is having the trial of trying to become something, who is having the tribulation of trying to do better for himself, who is having who is working so hard to become a better version of himself, a more financially successful version of himself, a six-figure version of himself, hell, maybe even a millionaire version of himself. Many women want to be finish line women. So while Adam and Hawa, alayhi salam, had the adversity of being apart, right? Usually you'll find the normal adversity of a man is him trying to collect resources and him trying to build himself up to be that top tier guy, That's what that I can speak that that's going to be his like his number one adversity. Because there's certain elements that are going against him in order to do that, right? So, with that being said, many women don't want that, and many women want the Disney fairy tale in which he presented. But it goes just back to like human nature, the fact that like if God didn't intend us to not be married, right? I don't think he would have created women. You know what I mean? I think he would have just had men, right? He would have, because that's within his abilities. I mean, he has no limits to what he can do. So, I mean, if anything, he would probably just create men, if he didn't intend like for men to be with women, right? But let's look into this video from the Imam.
Clearly that we were created in pairs. Number two, a rule for humanity is that human beings were created incomplete. I'm incomplete without my wife. My wife is incomplete without me. Alhamdulillah. We're incomplete without marriage. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also part of our natural order is that everything is created al-iftiqar. Everything is created in need. We are created to be interdependent, not independent. There are three things from the fitrah.
So with that being said, it is an innate desire for us to like want to be married and stuff like that. But to curb that desire, and I'm speaking for me especially, me personally, I don't look for marriage in the West. I've made that a fact that I don't look for marriage in the West. I have contacted family members outside of the West who have said that this is the best choice for me to do, and that's what I'm doing as of right now, right? Now, but I'm not denying the fact that that is something. There is a part of like a guy who wants that. You know what I mean? And in certain ways, there's a guy who needs those things. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily, only a Cent Beta Cup would want it in the Disney movie context way, right? But what I will say is that a man who's just on, like, I guess you can say a man who is pretty much on the fitra would want it in a like calm, cool, collected, civilized way, in a realist way that will, like maybe, exhibit some problems, like maybe present challenges, right? So yes, that is what goes on. But now let's continue on with something else. Okay, here we go.
So zina is something that's mentioned with polytheism, and it's also mentioned with murder. We know that zina is something that corrupts the heart. It weakens the iman. It shaves away at the faith, right? And there is nothing more corrupt than fornication. That zina is mentioned as a kaba'ir. A kaba'ir meaning that it is a sin, a grave sin, a great sin, a huge sin that has huge implications for our society.
So he's right about the fornication having a big impact on our society. And the thing is about the fornication is that the fornication, right? And I'm not advocating for fornication, sees The fornication will give you what you have going on in, like, with the Pookie and Ray Ray situation, where you have like a lot of single mothers who were not married and were not raised to be married and did not even think about marriage. And this is what happens. And you have Pookie and Ray Ray who have no responsibility in terms of like dingling discipline. So when you put those two elements together, it creates the dynamic in which you have right now, and that is like a dysfunctional society, and that goes for Chad as well too. You know, it doesn't just like stem from, you know, Pookie and Ray Ray. It also goes for Chad as well. You know, sometimes Chad like slips up, and you know he gets Amber, which one call it, gets Amber pregnant. You know, and Amber ends up a single mom as well. So these are kind of like the dynamics that you face in in because of the zina. And so this is a reminder to practice discipline and actually starve these women of like dingling, you know, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like the majority of women, especially the ones in the West, and I hate to group them in, Muslim and non-Muslim women, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest, and I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But the only difference between a non-Western woman, a non-Muslim Western woman, and a Muslim Western woman is just the headscarf most of the time. But if you take that off, they're exactly the same thing, unfortunately. And the sad thing about the Muslim women is they go down this rabbit hole and they see the damage being done by being quote unquote a city girl, and they still do it. You know what I mean? But let's look at some things that a brother said that they won't follow but are absolutely the truth. Let me go to my TikTok real quick. Look at my friends, or look at the ones I'm following. And let's see hear what he has to say. Okay, here we go.
It's yet another Eid and you're still single. Still making up excuses as to why you can't find a spouse. Guess what? If you keep on making these excuses, next Eid is gonna come and inshallah, you're still gonna be single. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay? Stop making up excuses. Stop being around people that enable your excuses and get out there and find a spouse. You know.
Okay, now the part I agree with is the excuses part, because what I find with a lot of Muslim women is a lot of Muslim women don't hold other Muslim women to account for the foolery that they do. And that just goes around the board with every woman. I have yet to see one woman actually check another woman on the foolery that they are exhibiting, and that woman take advice and be like, you know what, maybe you're right, and stuff like that. Because they run in packs together that where they will justify their foolish behavior and will actually encourage their foolish behavior instead of getting with people who are not going to make excuses for them.
You can find a spouse. Stop playing. It completes half your deen. What are you waiting for? Eid 2020, never to find one? Stop it, man. Mature up. You're an adult. You should not be allowed to celebrate Eid. You shouldn't. Because you have something that completes half your deen and you're not willing to pursue it because of your excuses. Matter of fact, you're not allowed to celebrate Eid. I'm telling you right now. Stop it. Take that.
I disagree with him on that, but I respect the Muslim brother for advocating for marriage. You know, may Allah bless his efforts.
Piece of lamb out of your mouth right now. It's yet another.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This brother breaks it down. Let's listen.
Muslim women, don't fall for the Western tricks, okay?
It's unfortunately too late, brother. They fell for the Western tricks, especially the ones on Clubhouse. Oh my God, they fell for the Western tricks. The Muslim women on Clubhouse have fell for the Western tricks the most. You know, it's sad, but it's true, bro. It's almost it's too late.
Don't start this whole men ain't nothing, men are trash vibe. Do not do it. Because one thing that we have as Muslims is respect. If you don't show the Muslim man respect, it's going to be hard for them to show you respect. And that will breed disrespect in our community. We don't have that. So do not copy these other communities, because the one thing they do have is a lot of disrespect in their communities. And a lot of other issues Muslims don't have. So start talking to Muslim men like you're a Muslim woman with respect. And
Unfortunately,
inshallah, brothers, you too, start talking to Muslim women with respect. But I've been seeing it from the women's side a lot more, talking about men are trash. We are not trash, okay? Don't copy societies that do not align with our deen.
well, brother, you're right, but the thing is that it's already too late. You know, to a lot of Muslim women, we're trash. You know what I mean? And we become trash even more because we want order. We want order around us. We want to comply to the natural order of things, but they don't want to comply to the natural order of things. They want to be rebellious. They want to be masculine. They want to be like, this is what they like. But let's look into something else.
Body positivity is keeping women single.
Before you make a negative comment, please just think about what it would do.
And think about what your mum looks like before you want to come and drag me. Because after she pushed your fat head out, she didn't lose the weight, but you're telling me to lose weight. And that's very scary, because me and her were on the same boat.
Think about what your mum looks like. Everyone's not looking at the mum.
Like, she was going off. She was going off on this guy, right? And then it hit me. That guy's mom is probably married. That's something she's not thinking about. That guy's mom was probably skinny at the time his dad found her attractive enough to marry. We live in this day and age where everything has to be.
And that's a fact. Like, you know, but even my mom, you know, she kept herself up even after, you know, she, you know, produced kids. You know, she kept herself up. She, you know, exercised. You know what I mean? Like, she did her duties. You know, some of her duties involved like pounding millet and pounding like manioca and stuff like that, which is going to be a natural exercise, right? Because the strenuous effort, you need to pound it into like a paste, basically, right? But she was married, and the problem in today's society is that fat women are not married, and fat women, especially fat Keishas, feel entitled to a man who is not only skinny, but a man who is financially has a handsome bank account. And when they do this, it kind of makes you think, well, you know, like, what is that man getting in return? You know what I mean? Like, that man, I think that man who worked hard and works hard in the gym does not deserve a water buffalo, if you know what I mean.
Be perfect, nobody's wrong. This is all trying to find a partner is, right? It's sales. It's sales. And you are the product, right? The thing you're trying to sell to your potential spouse is you, right? And you is also your body, not just your personality. Body positivity is keeping women single.
Okay, so let's see. He has a lot of good stuff, bro. I'm not gonna even cap.
The best dating platform ever is wherever you are. Literally. I've spoke to people that I was interested in the grocery store. I've spoke to people I was interested in school. I've spoke to people I was interested in anywhere. Like literally, I was gonna name like a really awkward place. But like anywhere. I literally found my wife at an Islamic center at a Ramadan dinner. Listen to this. Muslims, they kind of know. If you're non-Muslim, number one, Islamic centers are not the place you go to like mingle with the opposite sex. Number two, Ramadan is like when everybody's super religious. They're definitely not going to do all that. And number three, this is not a place we go to find a spouse. But I did. I said hi and I found my wife. I'm happy and I'm glad I did. Point being, the best dating platform is wherever you are. Open your mouth, say hi. You never know where it'll take you. Like I always say, it could take you to your wedding date just by saying hi. The best dating.
Okay, now with that, I kind of agree and disagree. If you say hi, then you may get a ferocious response due to the climate we live in. Okay. The problem is that because most Muslim women have brought into feminism and bought into these things, that isn't even warranted anymore. So even saying salam alaikum may give you a cold shoulder from these women. So maybe back in the day, I don't know how old this brother is, but he looks pretty young. Maybe back in the day, it was it was like that, but not today. But now let's look at a couple of more videos and go to it.
All right, response to your comment. Number Muslim women that submit to the Muslim man have no problem finding a spouse. It is.
But the problem is, brother, those same Muslim women who submit to Muslim men, or just any woman who submits to a man, will be called a pick-me by the hyenahood, okay? The hyenahood will fall to women for being a woman, okay? This is the problem, okay, that needs to be addressed. This is the elephant in the room. It has trickled into Muslim communities as well. And that's why you hear a lot of people talking about pick-me's, even in the Muslim community. So this is the problem, brother.
There's always the girl that can't learn to shut up, that stays single and bitter. And this is.
And it's true. I'm going to be honest with you. Muslim and non-Muslim women who don't know how to shut up or who are masculine are usually single. There was one masculine ass Muslim woman, and I said, hell the F no, I won't marry her ass. There was this one Muslim woman, and granted, they don't have to, as a Muslim wife, you don't have to cook or clean. You know, that's not a requirement, but if you do, there is goodness, because that consists in keeping peace in the household, and that also includes like taking care of your husband, like taking care of your husband's kind of like livelihood, because you need food to live. You need food to live. So, like, if you don't have food to live, and he has to depend on DoorDash and stuff like that for food, then what good are you really to him if you're not like an asset to him? If you're just a liability to a husband, then like, I hate to say it, but like the Central Asian guard dog that I'm buying would be more more of an asset to me than a wife would be. A wife who says something like, I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, I'm going to deprive my husband of sex and things like that. That Central Asian Shepherd dog will be more of an asset to me than a wife would, because at least they're going to be loyal, right? You train them to do what they're told, right? And also they reciprocate your loyalty. They reciprocate your investment into them by like feeding them, potty training them, exercising with them. They reciprocate by being fiercely loyal to you, and also possibly attacking anybody who maybe attacks you, or warn you of people who may attack you, right?
Not just unique to the Muslim community. Ladies in communities all over the world that do not learn to submit to their men have a higher chance of being single, staying single, and or divorced. Let's take the African American community, for example, in America. The ladies in the African American community are not known to submit to the African American men. What's the direct result from that? They stay single and they don't get married because a man does not want to be led. A man wants to lead. If you're comfortable with this fact, you'll have no problem finding a spouse. But if you're not comfortable to submit to the men in your community, you will have a huge problem finding a spouse. To my Muslim sisters, submit to the Muslim man and you will have zero problem finding a spouse.
And he's correct. I mean, but again, when these women have been told they can do everything a man can do and also do it better than a man, unfortunately this happens, Unfortunately this happens. This is what happens. But let's look at a couple of more.
If you want to find a spouse, you have to learn to be happy.
Okay.
If you want to find a spouse, master one thing. There's nothing more not successful. There's nothing more sexy than somebody that's successful. Doesn't matter what it is. You could be the best chess player in your region. You don't even have to be the best in the world. You could be the best stand-up comedian in your region. You could be the best soccer player in your high school. Doesn't matter. Check this out. Like when we used to go to high school, the people that were the best, like the top athletes, they always had a lot of attention from both sex because it is very attractive to be around excellence. So if you want to find a spouse, think about mastering one thing because that will help you in your journey of finding a spouse. One, it'll raise your confidence. Mastering something raises your confidence in that field. Number two, it'll give you a sense of purpose. And that in itself is attractive.
Well, here's the thing about that. The problem is, brother, that the problem is with that, brother, and I'm not trying to refute you because you're my Muslim brother, but that's the bare minimum for them, brother. That's the whole problem. That success that you have is the bare minimum. So, for example, 6 figures is the bare minimum for them to even give you attention, brother. So this is why it's the reason why we're in this situation that we're in.
You cannot change your face, but you can change your appearance. This is why I say that. So you can't just walk around being like, oh, I can't get that guy or I can't get that girl because I'm not attractive enough. Who cares about your face? If you're not attractive enough, you can carry yourself in a manner that makes you so attractive. If you're wearing wrinkled shirts, iron them. If your shirts are dirty, make sure they're clean. If you don't smell good, make sure you smell good. If you're not funny, learn how to be funny. Learn how to hold a conversation. Learn how to be genuinely interested in the person you're talking to. These things make you more attractive to the general public. So do not just walk around dependent on your face alone. We're not all blessed with a beautiful face like mine. No, but jokes aside, there's a lot of things that you could do to make some of the great...
Okay. One more video, and then we're gonna go to one thing. Let's see how his wife found him.
This is how my wife found me. She told me this after we got together. She told me that she made a list before she found me of everything she wants in a man. And then when she found me, she knew that was me. I'm telling you this because you could use it. When you have direction and you know what you want, it is much easier for you to find that, accomplish it, and attain it. So, for example, a lot of people do this. They do a list of what they want, and then when they find it, they know that's what they want. But I want to take it one step forward. You should also make a list of things that you will not put up with. That way, when you see those things in an individual, you know they're not for you. You don't even have to waste your time with them. This is how my wife...
Okay. I respect the brother for giving practical advice for us, but you know, I know that I shouldn't say but you know, while those things would be nice and stuff like that, the problem is that the women are not thinking on those terms. But let's go ahead and look at the problems of the choices of what women have, or no, what men have, you know, in the West. And I'm talking about the women in the West. You know what I mean? So this is the problem with the choices that we have in the West.
Assalamu alaikum. You're on YouTube right now, and your life is about to get transformed. Listen, it's $100 deposit.
As a Christian, and it's not just modern women. It's this is just where it is. But let's go. Shout outs to Mavi Tijani. I want to go into a conversation that he has with two women. They would be considered pick-me's. And then we're going to look at the other choices of women that are available. But let's continue.
I've seen believers in my group complain about giving sex to their husband, but it's supposed to be a duty, in my opinion. Is this a problem in Islam? Thank you for the $4.99 donation, Celine.
That's lovely. That's lovely. You know what? Women are trifling all over the world. They be trifling. Listen, there's a video on my channel. It's about vaginismus. So it's not on this topic exactly, but it's a condition called vaginismus. But we talk in there about the importance of sex education for Muslim women, right? And one of the things that came out of that conversation was, why are we so comfortable taking our husband's desire for us for granted? I'm going to say that again. Why are we as women so comfortable with taking our husband's desire for us for granted? Because he doesn't need.
The thing is she said, why are women so comfortable taking our husband's desire for granted? It's because they've been programmed to. These women have been programmed to do certain things. So that's why getting married to fulfill those desires, you may not even get those desires fulfilled with these women you marry. You know, one thing, you know, I was actually courting a woman, you know, a long time ago, but this woman was abroad. But there was a little bit of disagreements and stuff like that. But I told her, like, yo, like, I'm gonna need like feel good, like maybe 5 times a day. You know what I mean? I said that. She said she would do it, you know. But this is where we're at with this. You know what I mean? That in the West, it's actually cute to these women to actually deprive their husbands of sex.
Who want you, sis? He doesn't need to want only you. And most of us, we are hoping that our husband will be faithful to us. You're in a monogamous marriage. You want him to keep it at home, don't you? And yet, you see him wanting to be intimate with you as a chore, as a burden, as something to be flippant about, to be careless with, to be thoughtless with. And I think it is a grave mistake, because I'm sure you're aware of this, right?
Before Sister Naima continues, and I'm going to give my 2 cents.
The thing is that when you look at it, and I hate to say this, but I'm not trying to give their sexual lives out. I'm not trying to give their sexual lives out. But the majority of men I know who are in the West who are married and who happen to be married, they get starfish sex, okay? Their wives don't have the desire to really put it on them. I only know one that his wife puts it on him, and he is Orthodox Christian from Russia. But his wife actually said, though, it was a dream come true to be with him. So his wife is a different caliber of woman. So this is why we have the situation we have.
Here, because I believe that there has been something that has been missed.
I remember there was that podcast with that couple. Do you remember? Oh, the Ellises? I think it's the Ellises. And it went viral because the husband was saying, well, how come when I want to be physical with you, you're too tired and you've got all of this stuff going on, but you pushed for marriage, right? You pushed for monogamy, and now that I'm with my needs, it's too much. And she was like, nobody ever told me. No one ever told me I was going to have to do that, right? So, okay, we were maybe not told that this was part of the thing. Maybe we weren't trained up for it. But that physical connection is like food to your husband. And it's like you have a piece of cake in your hand, your husband is hungry, and he says, may I have some of that cake? And you say, no, I don't want you to have it.
Oh, Sister Naima, the sisters are going to flip out with that example. They're going to be absolute.
So unfortunately, this sister would be called a pick-me and be called a pick-me to Muslim sisters as well. You know, she would be considered a pick-me to modern Muslim women as well. You know what I mean? The thing is, and I see it so often that, you know, when you have these elements and things like that, when you have, like, for example, like the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj's, who are married, by the way, when basically they make the songs out talking about using dudes and stuff like that, and these women take heed to these songs, they do things like this. You know, they do things like this. They deprive their men of sex and the things that they would want. And so this is why you have the situation you have. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, she would be called a pick-me.
Fuming. How dare you call me a piece of cake? I can hear it already.
Him to go and run off and find someone else or go to porn and stupid stuff like that, then you better get it together.
Shout out to our brother Nasser.
So, and that's what happens a lot of the time is because, like, and I think after this portion, I'm going to end the video, but I'm just making a point to the fact that this is a real problem right now, that, like, that basically, how should I say it? That women will deprive a man of sex, then that man goes and looks elsewhere, and then it becomes the man's fault. And say if a man decides, okay, let me watch some adult flicks, then it's the man's fault too, because you're depriving him of sex, which they do a lot of the time.
Does end up going outside, I'm afraid you will have to shoulder some of the blame for that.
Excellent. I'm glad Sister Naima has mentioned that, actually, because I didn't watch this. These are the conversations I'm having. That's going off on a...
Most of us are not 10s. Most of us are not even 8, 9, 7s, right?
Right.
So most of us are not 10s. We're not 9s, 8s, or even 7s, right? Most of us are average. And if you've had some children, then you've got other stuff going on. Okay, you may have stretch marks. Your boobs may be going south. You know, you've got a bit of belly on you. You may have cellulite, whatever the case may be. He still wants you. He still thinks you're hot. He still wants to be physical with you. Like, which part of that is not a gift? Obviously, we need to reframe, right?
And that makes sense. Like, I mean, because when you look at it, like my dad, my dad, rahmatullah, he married 2 women. But the bottom line is he didn't venture out to other women. You know what I mean? Like, he had his 2 wives. Even after all the kids he had with his 2 wives, he still, like, the fact of the matter is, like, after he had me, he still had kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, it didn't just stop with me. You know, the kids kept on coming and coming and coming from the same women.
Instead of seeing his desire as a burden and a chore, see it as a compliment. See it as an invitation, right? To pleasure, to explore.
I like that. I like that reframe. Instead of seeing it as a burden or a chore, see it as a compliment. I like that. That's good, mashallah.
To connection. We need to do a lot of reframing because a lot of it is up here. But that's what I would say in answer to that question, which was a very good question, by the way.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. This is an urgent appeal for our...
All right. Very good conversation. Very calming. Feeling icky.
So you see the problem, right? We shouldn't even be having this conversation right now. I shouldn't even have to be making this video, but it's a real thing. I talk to guys every single day, man. Yeah, my wife ain't doing that for me. My wife ain't doing this for me. So with that being said, it's like, okay, I'm not going to get married then. Why do I need to get married here then? What am I missing out on? You know, if a woman is not going to enjoy it or look at it as something good, then it's not going to be good. You know, like nobody wants a damn starfish, you know, but if that's what you have to choose from, okay, I'd rather just be left alone in general, okay? I'd rather be alone than have a bad companion. And that's just how it works, you know. But one more video. Back to the Muslim brother. I actually forgot. I guess there was a clap back. There was a clap back, and let's see the clap back.
All right, response to your comment. Number 1, men do know how to lead. Maybe the men you're exposed to don't know how to lead, which means you should be better, or at least learn how to be better at picking better men.
The problem is with women is that women don't like to face this reality that they're responsible for the guys that they lay down with. And guys, of course, we know we're responsible for the women we lay down with. So when you know or see certain things about a person and you still decide to lay down with them anyway, whose fault is it? Is it that person who has shown you that they're not willing to change? Who has shown you that they're not really willing to be, I guess you can say, stand up people? Or is it your fault for entertaining that person and you keep on entertaining that person, right? So please just let me know whose fault it is, because of the simple fact that, you know, it's just pretty redundant at this time. So let's continue on.
African men that you're comfortable submitting to. And number two, you can be self-sufficient and submit to your husband simultaneously. All right, response.
That's true. I mean, in Islam, a woman who makes her own money, she gets to keep her own money. She doesn't have to contribute to the household with her money. That's her money, if she makes her own money, right? But a lot of the time, just due to wanting to keep things pretty much together, a lot of the time, like a woman is obviously, she won't, as we said, she doesn't have to do it, but she more or less so she'll probably end up doing it anyway, saying, hey, here's a couple of bucks, like, go handle that, if you need it, and chances are you won't need it, if you're on your job. But with that being said, yes, men do want to get married.
Stop going into new
yes, men do want to be married. That's like a natural thing that they want. But they don't want to be married in the circumstances that they are in right now with the Western woman. Okay? That brother did make very good points, and the Niqabi made very good points as well. But unfortunately, like, we're at the stage where these women are going to be mad. These modern hyenas. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, if you, I'm going to end it on this note. If you come to my clubhouse, right, 99% of the women on there hate my ass. Okay? 99% hate me on that app. Because 99% are part of the hyenahood. And when they see this guy, who is not part of the hyenahood, or who doesn't advocate or simp from the hyenahood, then he becomes public enemy number one. But with that being said, that's all I got for now, guys. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Foolish signing out. Unjaram.